Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. I respect Ms. Setiariani as the supervisor of the thesis writing course. Thank you for the opportunity and thank you all who visit my video. My name is Ardelia Putri, student from the English Literature Department, Faculty of Cultural Sciences, will present my thesis proposal as final project entitled Politeness Maxims of Main Character in Cruella 2021 film. So it presents 3 chapters. In chapter 1, it contains background of the study, research question, purpose of the study, significances of the study, scope and research limitation, and definition of the key term. At the background of the study, the researcher talked about the issue that related to this theory first. After that, pragmatics and the theory of politeness will be explained, which is Politeness Maxim by Geoffrey Neely, 1983. The next is the application of the objects such as film and why the researcher chose that film to be discussed. The researcher decided to discuss Politeness Maxim in film Cruella 2021 because the main character from this film, namely Estella, as known as Cruella de Vil, can provide insightful information regarding her personality, social interaction, and communication style. In research question, the researcher will tell how our politeness maxim portrayed by the main character in Cruella 2021 film. In research, the researcher will tell the purpose of the study, that is to identify the politeness maxim by the main character in Cruella 2021. In significances of the study, the researcher offered 2 significances, such as theoretically and practically. Theoretically, this research is expected to provide benefit for academic scope of the theory of politeness maxim by Geoffrey Neely, which consists of 6 elements, which namely text maxim, generosity maxim, approbation maxim, modesty maxim, agreement maxim, and sympathy maxim. Practically, the researcher helped us which research can use as reference for other research that using this theory too. In this part, the researcher tells the focuses of the study, which is the character, and for the limitation in this research, focus on the main character in the film, which is Estella, and next the researcher explain why the character being selected, which is the interaction she has or the character has with other character in this film who use politeness maxim in the utterances. Okay, the next part, researcher inform the word appear in the context related to the theory used such as pragmatics, politeness maxim, film, and character. Let's move on to chapter 2. This chapter, the researcher is about to provide basic theory of the research, the literature use, and reviews of previous study. First is pragmatic. This is the study of relationship between a language and context that is grammatically or encoded in language structure by Levinson. The next is Geoffrey Leach assert that there is a politeness principle that contains conversation maxim akin to those put out by Paul Grace. There is a close relationship between the principle of cooperation and civility because the research a set of management principle of maxim for language use incrementally. And as I said before, Leach put all 6 maxim. Okay, first is tag maxim. It states to avoid harm to other and enhance their benefit. In this maxim, the speaker seeks to minimize the listener cost while optimizing their benefit. The next is maximize cost to oneself and minimize gain to oneself is known as generosity maxim, while tag maxims are aimed toward other and emphasize the speaker, emphasizing that others should come before oneself. This one is self-oriented or the individual. The next is approbation maxim. It refers to that one should limit criticism for others and enhance their appreciation. This attack is meant to help you refrain from speaking poorly of other people, especially to the listener. The next is agreement maxim. It refers to that one should limit their disagreement with other and maximize their agreement. This maxims, disagreement is typically conveyed as regret or only partially agreed. The next is sympathy maxim. It relates to the idea of maximizing sympathy and minimizing affection between oneself and others. In this situation, for example, the accomplishment of others needs to be acknowledged and assessed. However, then when someone else experiences a tragedy, they should be shown compassion or sending sympathy. And the last is modesty maxim. It states to reduce one's own praise and to enhance one's own criticism. The approbation maxim and the modesty maxim both address the speaker level of positive or negative assessment of other or of oneself. The next is film or motion film. Is to be seen and interpreted by an audience which recorded with sound and tell the story by Hornby. The last is character, as the individual writer construct to live in their work of fiction. Character ought to be consistent and credible. In previous study, the researcher gives some example of journal article or study that related to the theory. And as you see on the screen. Now we go to chapter 3. At this part, researcher introduced the type of work or the subject that we'll use to be discussed. The next is the approach, the method, namely qualitative method according to Cruella. In research design, they study employ qualitative research approach to analyze the politeness maxim in main character Cruella, and a qualitative methodology is appropriate as it allows for an in-depth exploration and interpretation in linguistic data and conversation exchange in the film dialogue. The main data source is Cruella 2021. The data is taken from movie script that include the dialogue and chat that Cruella, the main character, has through the whole movie or film. The researcher is instrument qualitative research. As an instrument, the researcher did analyzing by watching, observing, and collecting data in order to answer the research problem. And the research concentrates on devising the subsequent diverse products to acquire the information, such as watching, highlighting, and write down the highlights in. And the last is data analysis. Following data collection, the researcher continued in several various texts. The study used the Miles and Huberman paradigm, which examined the data and split into the following 3 stages, that is data reduction, data display, and conclusion during verification. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you for your attention and wish me luck. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.